Hi Libra, welcome to your very first reading from me. My name's Carol and I want to welcome you to Yellow Cardinal Tarot. This is a brand new channel and this channel is all about shadow work and how to face your shadow. And we're going to do that with the help of the tarot. I also have a video above that is taken from my other channel called Carol Cares. And that video in particular is going to focus on what shadow work is and 4 ways that you can do it that I have decided were the 4 probably most important tips that I can give you for shadow work. So I'll always have that linked above. Now, for this particular reading, we're going to look at what pattern is showing up for you, maybe that you're aware of in your life right now. And then I'm going to pull another card from the Light Seers Tarot to see how what shadow aspect is connected to that pattern. And then I'm going to pull a 3rd card to give you some guidance on how you can start to deal with the situation that's coming up from your shadow. And then I'm going to clarify each card with the Rider-Waite deck, and I'm going to end it with a spirit animal for you. And I decided to choose that oracle deck because in my own therapy I have complex trauma. So the last several years I've been working intensely on my own shadow. And I also did a lot of craniosacral work, which is energy work, body work. And oftentimes my therapist would find a spirit animal in my energy field. And one time he found a yellow cardinal. And for me, I didn't know it existed, and actually neither did he, so we looked it up. And for me, it's always been that one that's stuck with me because it's very unique. And it really, for me, it stands for transformation and strength that we all need with this journey. So let's begin with, now I did a lot of shuffling before I came on camera, just because sometimes it's hard to sit and watch me shuffle all the time. So let's look at what pattern is showing up for you right now. 1 card, let's give 1 card for Libra, for a pattern that's showing up right now for Libra. The Fool in reverse. It's interesting. Shadow aspect that's linked to this pattern. Shadow aspect, and I like to choose 1 card. Usually if it's 2, I'll put it back because I just want 1 card. The shadow aspect that's showing up for Libra right now. The shadow aspect that's showing up that's linked to this pattern. The 2 of Cups. The 2 of Cups. And guidance from Tarot. There we go. The 10 of Wands in reverse. The 10 of Wands in reverse. Okay, let's just take a few minutes to talk about these 3 cards and what they mean, sort of, to start off with. So, the first card that you get is the Fool in reverse. Now, if you look at this card upright, she looks like a fool to be, looks like she could fall. But she's trusting. She's really trusting that she's not going to fall. And she's not going to fail. Because she trusts that the universe has her back. That there's really a lot of support out there for her. And I like to call it the universe. Some people call it God. Some people call it source. But I think a part of this journey is to take on a belief that there is something out there that's supporting you. And this card has come in reverse for you, and I can see that there's a lot of resistance to that. And I get that because, you know, a lot of times, depending on how we were raised, there's just I don't know if it's a fear or a resistance to thinking that somebody has your back out there, there's support. And that could come from, like, I mean, I came from a very traumatic childhood. So for me to trust that there could be something, that the universe was on my side, it was hard for me, believe me, when I started this journey. It was really, really hard for me. And so this is where I get where you are right now, where you're having a lot of trouble maybe accepting that, you know what, the universe isn't on my side. What are you talking about? And that's what sort of it's saying to me. The Two of Cups has come up for you as your shadow aspect that's linked to this. And I think this Two of Cups has come up because you see two individuals locking hands, and I will at no point, like a lot of people like to compare this, I think, to the Lover's card, you know, where you're exchanging cups in the Rider-Waite deck. There's an exchange of cups. And this, for me, is a card that comes out to remind you, in case you didn't know, in case you forgot, that each individual on this planet has two parts. It doesn't matter what gender you are. Each one of us has a masculine part and a feminine part. Now the feminine part is quite repressed in us, because she is the feminine part of us is very much the part of us that's creative, that holds our intuition, and that is our authenticity and who we really are. And then we have the male aspect of us, the male part of us that, you know, would not believe in any of that, and would believe in, you know, things like that whole side of that is pretty woo-woo, and wouldn't believe in intuition, it's not a thing, and really wouldn't believe that the universe is supporting you. That probably wouldn't be a thing either. So yeah, we'll see how the tarot comes out with that. And then the guidance here, with the Ten of Wands in reverse. The Ten of Wands upright is where someone has just worked through a really difficult cycle, and has cycled through a lot of emotions. Wands is all about, you know, mental thoughts, and so it can be a lot of like your desire. So your wands can be a lot of your mental constructs, your mental belief systems, your conditionings, your patterns, anything that was handed down to you, old stories that you're holding on to, your trauma that you're holding on to, and it's just causing you a lot of agony. And this would be somebody that's just finally worked through a cycle, and is walking away. But yours is in reverse, which means there's some unpacking to do. There's some resistance to unpacking these patternings, these conditionings, these belief systems that you have picked up as a child. And I'm seeing that there's really a resistance to doing that, because it's in reverse. So I'm going to clarify these three, and I want to see what pattern is coming up in your life. I wanted 3 cards to clarify the Fool, and it looks like I have 5 here that wanted to come out, and I will take them because it's saying to, and sometimes I don't like to, but we'll see. We'll work with it. So we have the Fool in reverse. I have the the Two of Pentacles in reverse, the Tower card in reverse, Ace of Pentacles in reverse, the Page of Swords upright, and the Chariot. I do read reversals. So, Two of Cups. What shadow aspect is coming up? We have the Page of Cups. Two more cards. Two more cards for the Two of Cups. Two more cards. The Moon and in reverse, and the Two of Cups again in reverse. Interesting. You did get the Two of Cups here, but you did for your card up here, but it's not in reverse. So we'll see what that means. Okay, the guidance that tarot can give you for the Ten of Wands in reverse. The guidance for the Ten of Wands in reverse. The High Priestess. The World in reverse. And the Ten of Wands. Again, that's interesting. So the Ten of Wands has come out twice in reverse for you right here. Okay. All right. Oh, the first one is going to be, let's see, this little 5-card spread that's come out with it. So, Fool. So there's something in you that's sort of afraid to take that leap of faith. Fear, a lot of times, I shouldn't assume that it's fear, but it came out, so I'm going to say there's a fear in you that's taking that leap of faith, that maybe that someone has your back. I see that you have a decision to make. I see that you have a decision to make. You have a decision to make. Makes sense, because you know the universe's pattern that's coming up is saying, well, this is a pattern of yours that you have difficulty or fear just kind of allowing, you know, bringing in that whole idea of, you know, someone's here to support you. There's a greater power, if you want, out there to help you. With the Two of Pentacles in reverse, the Two of Pentacles says you have a decision to make, upright, but you're really out of balance right now. And I mean, a juggler's on 2 feet, but he's not, one's on the ground and one's not. So to me, this says, you know, you're very ungrounded. And I think you're not aware of that you need to do some grounding, that you need to learn how to ground yourself. And I think, you know, when you ground yourself, that helps you get in touch with your intuition, which is something maybe, you know, and your intuition is going to come from a higher source. But if you don't believe that it exists, then it's difficult sometimes to even reach it. And I see that with this Two of Cups being in reverse, or Two of Pentacles, excuse me. But there's a Tower moment here, and a Tower moment means that, you know, something, the universe has brought something to you to shake things up. And it's in reverse here. It's in reverse. So I feel that there is a great resistance to even considering that things need to be shaken up. Not in a bad way for you, but just kind of, there's a change that needs to be made. A change for you. And the Ace of Pentacles upright, this came in reverse. So the Ace of Pentacles upright would say, here's an offer on the table for you to, you know, maybe get into your body, maybe to learn how to ground yourself so that you can bring a bit more balance into your life. And there's a lot of resistance to it. And usually when an offer comes for you, when there's an ace, I mean, the universe really wants you to take it, but you're kind of going, nah, no. not for me. Like, grounding's not for me. No, maybe this intuition, there's a fear. A lot of us have a fear of getting in touch with our intuition. We don't really believe it's a thing. And the Page of Swords, for me, my court cards represent parts inside of us. And the Page of Swords comes upright. And for me, the Page of Swords is an inner child. And one thing I know about children, so it's a very young part in you. We all have parts. Everybody has parts. They just don't know it. Some people do. But this is a part of you. It's an inner child part of you, young part, that one thing I know about children, two things I know about children, that children are authentic. You know, they haven't got to that point where they've put on this mask and they're trying to please everybody. They learn how to do that as a child. But at the beginning, they're not. They're very authentic. They're real. Children are real. You know, they're not worried about, putting on these masks. They're real. And so this reading is asking you to, get in touch with that part of you that's authentic, that's real. There is a part in there that's, wanting to, authenticity is wanting to come out here. And the Chariot tells me that some movement needs to happen. I mean, you have a Tower here that's in reverse. And, change needs to come, but there's resistance. And there's movement that needs to happen. But this particular Chariot is not moving. It looks like it is, but it's static. And so, I feel like there's a need for some movement here, okay? And so there's a pattern that we can see where it's kind of like, and you can decide what it is for you. If there's some fear to trust that someone has your back. Because the shadow aspect that's coming up for you is the Two of Cups. And we suggested that that's what it is, where it's about going inwards and getting to know your two sides, your feminine side and your masculine side, and that exchange. And the Page of Cups is coming up for us because this is another inner child. This is the one that carries all these emotions. This is the one, my Page of Cups is really the love seeker one, because the love seeker for me is that part that carries a lot of grief. And it's very much a suppressed part of us that carries a lot of grief, can carry a lot of shame as well. And it can be covered up sometimes with maybe anger. And so I'm feeling that there's a kind of a pull for you to go inwards and to connect with these young parts of you. And the Moon is coming up in reverse here for you. And it is these things that are, the Moon is usually for me things that are hidden. Because, in this journey, we really don't know what's buried in our shadow. We don't know. We do not know until we start to do our shadow work. And there are things that are hidden here. And it's in reverse. Right? So upright would mean that they're just things we don't know. And when it's in reverse, I'm taking it as there are things that, I'm not sure you are willing to know. So there is a fear to go inwards and use your intuition to see what things are hidden here. Because the Two of Cups is now coming in reverse for me. And it was, it was talking about upright. Now it's in reverse. So yeah, there is a resistance to get to know that intuition, to go inwards. Now, the guidance that is going to come out, the guidance that's coming out is the Ten of Wands, which is in reverse, and we had discussed that as being, in reverse, and where you do have a lot of mental anguish going on, but there's a resistance kind of to go inwards and deal with some of those emotions. And it's hard with shadow work. It really is hard, I know. The High Priestess comes here first with us and says, this is the guidance that's being offered to you. And the High Priestess says, you know what, like, the High Priestess is all about intuition. And if there's one word that I would describe that is showing up in here in your whole reading is intuition. And intuition, really, if I had to describe it in one word, it would be your gut feeling, to follow your gut. Follow your gut. And we all have intuition. And the High Priestess is all about intuition. It's a feminine part, a feminine side that is our wisdom. The feminine wisdom is our intuition. Now, she sits between two pillars. And one might assume that, you know, she's guarding something. You can't go there. And that's not true. You can go there. You can have inner wisdom. She represents our inner wisdom. She represents our inner wisdom that's held in our unconscious. And you can go. But people think you can't go. But the truth is that people just don't know how to go there. And so I think there is some guidance. The tarot's wanting to say that you need to learn how to access your intuition, is what this reading is really about. Because if you learn how to access your intuition, there could be some good things there for you. Some gifts sometimes for you, some answers to this mental anguish that you've been experiencing, that maybe you're blocking, that's blocked for you. But this cycle to end of your mental anguish is blocked. Like, and I see it right here because the Ten of Wands has come up again for your last card. You know, you got two Ten of Wands that are in reverse here. And so it really is screaming. Sometimes when I see two cards coming up, you know, in the same section here, it tells me that it's screaming, you know, who is your, like, you need, who are you? Like, who is it underneath all this anguish that you're feeling, and what is blocked? And to me, what's blocked, a couple things, is your intuition. And once you get to that, you're going to get to your authenticity, right? Because this is what this means, that once you get to that, you can get rid of this anguish. And what comes in for you here, because this is the Wands suit, and what comes in for you here is an aspect of authenticity, creativity, of just knowing who you are and just starting to figure out who you are. And that's so important. So what I'm going to, before I pull a spirit animal for you, I want to suggest a couple videos for you from my other channel, Carol Cares. And I want to suggest two things. One is going to be how to ground yourself, because that's very, very important to learn how to ground yourself. Because that's the first step in trying to get to your authenticity, to find out who you are, is to become present, is to how to really, really become present to yourself and ground yourself. And then the second one is, I want to really give you a video on how to journal from what you're feeling, how to journal from your emotions. And those are the two key elements that I use. Two things that I cannot live without in this journey, my shadow work journey, is grounding and journaling. And once you learn how to do those two, you're well on your way. You'll be well on your way to starting to access that intuition and starting to access, you know, maybe these gifts that are hidden under all of this resistance that you're blocking. But you got to go back to that letting go of just, you know, just kind of giving in and saying, you know, maybe there is something out there to help me. I don't know, maybe there is. You know, at one point in my life, I had to do that, where I had to just, you know what, just throw everything up in the air and go, maybe there is something out there for me. Because that's all I had. I had nothing else. That's all I had. So here's a spirit animal that I want to leave you with. Just as one last little message from the universe. It's the crow spirit, and it's co-create with spirit. Kind of interesting because, you know, it's another card that says, listen, you know, there is someone out there that has your back. You know, you don't have to call it a spirit if you don't want to. I call it the universe. People call it God, people call it source, the creator. You decide what you want to call it. But there's a point where you kind of got to go, you know what? There is something out there that's got to have my back. Because I got nothing. And it's asking you to co-create, you know, to work with them. Good luck, and let me know if this resonates for you.